Brother, let me give you a truth most men never dare to face. Silence isn't weakness. It's the storm before the reveal. When you disappear, you don't lose ground. You expose it. And what happens in those first few days will tell you everything about her loyalty, her pride, and her true feelings. For months, maybe years, she's been fed by your rhythm, your texts, your calls, your constant presence. Then suddenly, nothing. That void is louder than any word you could speak. At first, she'll act unbothered, pretend she doesn't care, but pride is fragile, and silence cuts deeper than argument. Each hour you stay silent, the cracks begin to show. Most men break here. They panic. They rush to explain themselves, to check in, to reclaim her attention, and in doing so, they hand back the very power silence gave them. But you won't, because you're about to see what really happens when her ego collides with absence, when her confidence is forced to face the truth she never expected. So listen carefully. Stay with me until the very end. By the time we finish, you'll know how silence flips the script and why most men never master it. Like this video and subscribe to Stoic Station, your daily reminder of discipline, clarity, and power. Start this journey now. And in the comments, anchor yourself. Drop a 1 if you've ever broken silence too soon. Or drop a 2 if you know silence is your sharpest weapon. Because what you're about to hear isn't theory. It's the raw truth of what unfolds from day 1 and 2. Let's dive in. Day 1 to 2, the shock of silence. Brother, listen carefully, because this is where the real game begins. Not with your words, not with your effort, but with the power of your silence. For months, maybe years, she grew accustomed to your rhythm. She expected the daily texts, the good morning check-ins, the calls that reminded her she was the center of your world. And then, suddenly, that rhythm breaks. She expected you to reach out as always, but instead, nothing. And in that nothing, a storm begins to build. At first, she convinces herself it's no big deal. He's busy. He'll text later. Her ego needs to believe she still has you under control, but the mind has a way of betraying pride. That small whisper creeps in. What if something's wrong? What if she pushed you away? And that's when she starts scrolling back through old conversations, replaying moments in her head, trying to uncover the mistake. The words she ignored, the times she responded late, the moments she took you for granted. They replay like scenes from a film, and each one cuts a little deeper. Every hour without your message adds weight. It feels unfamiliar. Discomfort takes root, because the pattern she depended on has collapsed. And when patterns break, the mind spirals. She checks your social media more often than she admits, zooming in on the details she once ignored. Who liked your post? Who are you following? Is there a new woman leaving comments? She doesn't want to care, but she does. Her ego still insists you'll return tomorrow, that you're just busy with work, that nothing has changed. But underneath that surface confidence, doubt has already slipped in. And doubt, brother, is the seed that grows into obsession. Here's the beauty of silence. You're not chasing her. You're not explaining yourself. You're not fighting to prove your worth. You're simply holding space. And in that space, she begins to confront the possibility she never considered. That maybe she doesn't own your time, your attention, or your energy the way she thought. And that realization makes her restless. That's why she might suddenly post a picture where she looks her absolute best. She wants to spark a reaction, to test if your eyes are still on her. She might even casually ask a mutual friend about you, pretending it's small talk when deep down it's anything but casual. Every move is designed to draw you out of silence. But this is where most men fail. The discomfort gets to them first. They think, if I don't say something, she'll forget me. They rush in, they break the silence, they hand back the control. And in that instant, the entire effect is lost. She learns she still has power, that no matter how long she waits, he will always crawl back. But you, brother, you are not most men. You understand that silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It's not about punishing her, it's about revealing her truth. The truth is simple. A woman who values you will feel the absence and confront her own pride. She will realize that she took too long to reply, that she assumed you'd always be there, that maybe she didn't treat you with the respect you deserved. But a woman who never truly cared, she'll vanish without hesitation. And that's not your loss. It's your liberation, because why should you waste another moment of your life chasing someone who never saw your worth in the first place? Your silence becomes the filter. It separates those who only wanted attention from those who genuinely want you. And here's the viral truth you need to carry with you. Her imagination is your ally. You don't have to say a single word. Her mind will create the story. Her pride will resist, but her emotions will betray her. And in that silent space you created, you'll see exactly where you stand in her life. So don't chase, don't react. Let the silence do its work, because when you disappear, you don't lose power. You expose the truth. And brother, once you see that truth, you'll never fear silence again. Day 3 to 5. Doubt creeps in. This is the stage where her confidence begins to crack. In the first 2 days, she was still sure of herself, still convinced you'd be back any moment. But now we step into day 3 and something shifts. She grabs her phone, expecting to see your name light up the screen, but it doesn't happen. That sting of disappointment, the small ache she didn't want to feel, plants the first seed of doubt. She tells herself it's nothing. She pretends you're probably just caught up with work, that you'll reach out when you can. But the truth is, every time she unlocks her phone, she's secretly hoping, even if she won't admit it. That hope turns into a habit, and the habit turns into need. She starts checking her notifications more often, but she does it casually, like she's not really looking for you. Yet every alert, every buzz, every random message from someone else leaves her with the same hollow thought, it's not you. By the second day, that casual curiosity evolves into something sharper. She notices things she never cared about before. She sees you're active online, maybe scrolling, maybe liking something, but not sending her a single message. That burns, because it's not just your silence anymore, it's your choice. At night, she lays in bed with her phone close, scrolling back through old conversations. She reads her own replies, her own tone. Was she too cold? Did she miss the signs? Or worse, has your interest faded? The idea gnaws at her because it's no longer about what you've done, it's about what you're not doing, and nothing can scream louder than absence. Her ego won't surrender. She keeps telling herself she's still in control, that you'll cave first, that this silence won't last. But her emotions whisper something different. What if you no longer need her? That whisper is quiet, but it's steady, and it grows louder with each hour you stay silent. So she begins to test you. Maybe she posts a picture designed to catch your eye, one where she looks her best, framed perfectly for attention. Maybe it's a lyric, a quote, or a memory that seems harmless but is crafted to bait you into reacting. She doesn't want the world's response. She wants yours. Every comment, every like, that isn't from you cuts deeper than she expected. And when you don't react, when you don't take the bait, the cracks widen. What started as a small seed of doubt is now splitting her confidence apart. This is the moment where men often break. The silence gets heavy, the fear of losing her kicks in, and they rush to reclaim her attention. But what they don't realize is that her doubt is their leverage. Every second you hold steady, every hour you stay calm, the more she questions her position in your life. That questioning is what she never prepared for. She was used to the certainty of your pursuit, but now she has to face the possibility of your independence. And that realization unsettles her more than anger ever could. Resist the urge to break. I know it feels counterintuitive. I know you're tempted to ease the tension, but understand this. You're not just being silent. You're showing her what life feels like without you. You're teaching her the weight of your absence. If she truly values you, she will begin to recognize what she's losing. If she doesn't, she'll drift away. And that's not your failure, it's your freedom. Because the right woman won't let silence stretch into forever. Stay steady, brother. Your silence is not weakness, it's strength. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. And as these days unfold, remember this viral truth. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove. You don't need to explain. All you need to do is hold your ground, because the more you stay rooted, the more she feels the void. And in that void, her real feelings surface, not when you're near, but when you're gone. That's the power of day 3 to day 5. And if you're patient enough to let her doubt grow, you'll discover just how much you truly mean to her. Day 6 to 8. Pride versus insecurity. This is where the real war begins, not between you and her, but inside her own mind. Her ego is screaming at her to stay calm, to hold her ground, to keep the illusion that she still has the upper hand. He'll cave. He always does. He'll come back like before. But insecurity slips in through the cracks, whispering questions she can't silence. What if he doesn't? What if this time is different? What if he's already moved on? That tension between pride and fear creates a storm she can't escape. She starts scrolling through your old messages, almost like she's conducting an investigation. She remembers how quickly you used to respond, how consistent your effort was, how much you used to pour into every exchange. And now? Silence. That contrast gnaws at her. It's not just that you're absent, it's that your absence feels intentional, like a statement without words. She can't ignore it anymore. She measures the old you against the man you're showing her now, and she feels the distance. That realization unsettles her more than she expected. So she tries to fight back indirectly. Instead of texting you first, she looks for ways to pull you out of silence without losing her pride. Maybe it's a picture where she looks just a little more radiant than usual, carefully crafted to catch your attention. Maybe it's a cryptic quote, something deep or mysterious, as if to say she's moved on or she doesn't care. But brother, don't mistake those moves for strength. They're tests. She doesn't want to be the one to reach out, but she's desperate to see if she still has influence over you. She wants you to take the bait, because if you do, her pride wins and her fear is silenced. But when you don't react, when you let the posts and the quotes hang in the air without acknowledgement, that's when the internal battle intensifies. She starts watching your activity obsessively. Every time you're online, every time you're seen but silent, it cuts deeper. She notices the gap between how it used to be and how it is now. For the first time, she's forced to confront a question she never wanted to ask. What if she overestimated her place in your life? That thought shakes her because it challenges the foundation of control she believed she had. And here's where most men give in. They see her subtle signals, they feel her energy shift, and they jump back in, eager to prove they're still present. But doing that kills the entire dynamic, because the truth is, her doubt is your leverage. Each day you remain calm and unshaken, the power balance tilts further in your direction. Her pride insists she should wait you out, but her insecurity whispers that waiting might cost her everything. That war between ego and fear plays out entirely inside her, while you remain silent, steady, and untouchable. Understand this clearly, brother. When a woman begins to doubt her place in your life, that doubt grows faster than desire ever could. She starts to fear your absence more than she enjoys your attention. That's the turning point. That's the moment where silence becomes your sharpest weapon, not because it punishes her, but because it exposes the truth. She now sees the possibility that you're not orbiting around her, that you've stepped back into your own strength, and that scares her more than any words you could say. Hold your ground. Let her pride wrestle with her insecurity. Don't step in to relieve the tension, because that tension is what reveals her true feelings. If she values you, she'll find a way to break the silence and reach through the walls of her ego. If she doesn't, she'll fade, and you'll know the answer you needed all along. That clarity is worth far more than any text or explanation. So stay steady. Keep your silence. Because in these days, as pride collides with insecurity, she's not just questioning you, she's questioning herself. And the longer you remain calm, the louder that question becomes. That's the viral truth, brother. Your silence doesn't weaken the connection. It reveals whether there was ever a connection at all. Day 9 to 11. Emotional breakdown. By this point, brother, silence is no longer just an inconvenience, it's chaos in her mind. In the early days, she could still convince herself you were busy, still tell herself you'd come back like always. But now, every day without your message feels heavier. What was once a quiet pause now feels like a void she can't control. And inside that void grows her deepest fear, the fear of being replaced. She tries to brush it off, but her imagination doesn't let her. The mind doesn't need proof to build a story. It just needs silence. And your silence gives her the blank canvas to paint her worst nightmares. She begins to picture you talking to another woman, forming a new connection, giving your energy to someone who excites you more than she does. It doesn't matter if it's true. In her world, the possibility is enough to sting, and that sting spreads until it feels like certainty. So she fights back the only way she knows how, by baiting you. She posts more often, carefully chosen lyrics that sound like confessions, captions that drip with double meaning, maybe even a throwback picture of better times. Don't be fooled, brother. These posts aren't authentic expressions of who she is in the moment. They're traps. They're designed for one reason only, to see if you'll break. She's not just posting for her followers, she's posting for you, hoping you'll flinch, hoping you'll slip and show your hand. And when you don't, that's when anger starts to rise. How dare he ignore me? After everything, how can he act like I don't exist? But don't be deceived. Anger is just the mask she wears to cover what she's really feeling. Because beneath the fire of frustration is something much colder, much harder to face. Fear. Fear that she no longer matters to you. Fear that your silence isn't just a temporary absence, but a permanent shift. Fear that she has lost the influence she thought she'd always have. This is where your discipline is tested. Most men fold at this point. They see her anger, they see her signals, and they rush in, desperate to smooth things over. But you're not most men. You understand that her frustration is proof your silence is working. The longer you hold the line, the more her irritation turns into obsession. She begins to watch you more closely, think about you more often, and obsess over why you aren't reacting. Without even realizing it, she has switched roles. You're not the one chasing anymore. She is. This is the power of silence. It flips the script. The woman who was once certain of your return is now uncertain. The woman who thought she could predict your every move now struggles to make sense of your absence. And that uncertainty is what burns the deepest. It forces her to confront her own vulnerability. It makes her realize she can't take your presence for granted anymore. So stay steady, hold firm. Don't let her anger trick you into breaking your resolve, because what she shows on the surface isn't the full story. Underneath, it's not confidence speaking, it's fear. And the more she fears losing you, the more the truth comes to light. That's the viral shift you need to understand. Silence isn't just a lack of words, it's the loudest message you'll ever send. Day 12 to 15. Obsession takes over. Now the silence becomes unbearable, brother. In the first few days, she could still trick herself into thinking you'd come back. But here the weight of your absence is crushing. She can't focus the way she used to. Work feels empty, conversations feel shallow, even her daily routine feels broken. The simple truth is this: her energy is scattered because her mind keeps circling back to you. She checks her phone over and over, refreshing, unlocking, locking, hoping to see your name appear. Each time it doesn't, the pressure builds. She thought she had control, but now she's exhausted from pretending not to care. This is when she replays everything. Every interaction, every conversation, every small detail. She rewinds the story in her head, searching for the moment she miscalculated. Did she underestimate your strength? Did she assume you'd always be there waiting for her signal? She used to think you were the one chasing, but now the narrative twists in her mind. For the first time, she faces a truth she never wanted to admit. Maybe it was her chasing you all along. That thought unsettles her because it doesn't fit the picture she built of herself, the picture where she was untouchable and you were the one proving your worth. And here's where the real conflict begins. Her pride collides with desperation. On one hand, her ego still whispers that you'll fold if she just waits long enough. On the other, her emotions scream that she's losing you, and losing you means losing a version of herself she loved the most, the version that felt chosen. Because, brother, it's not just you she misses. It's the way she felt when your attention was hers. It's the identity of being desired, admired, secured in her place in your world. Losing that identity feels like losing control of who she is, and the fear of that loss eats away at her. That's why she can't stay still. She stalks your social media with a different intensity now, looking for signs of change, searching for proof that you've moved on. She might ask around through mutual friends, pretending it's casual, when in truth it's desperation hidden behind small talk. Every piece of silence you give her forces her to turn inward and face her deepest insecurity, that she was never as safe in your hands as she believed. But this is where you must remain disciplined. Don't let guilt, pity, or temptation break you. When she seems restless, when she looks like she's crumbling, you'll feel the pull to reach out. Don't. Because this silence is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's not punishment, it's perspective. You are forcing her to confront her own truth. If she truly values you, if she truly wants you in her life, this is the moment she will break her pride and make the move. She'll reach out. She'll find a way back. But if she doesn't, if she lets the silence stretch and disappears, then you've gained the answer you needed all along. She was never meant for you, and you've just saved yourself from wasting years on someone who only valued the validation, not the man. So let her obsession reveal the truth. Don't flinch, don't bend, don't step off your ground. Because in this stage, her battle isn't with you, it's with herself. And as her obsession grows, your silence will either bring her back in humility or release you into freedom. That's the viral truth men need to hear. The woman who values you will never let silence stretch into forever. Day 16 to 23, the final decision. This is where everything comes to light, brother. The first days of silence were shock and denial. Then came the cracks of doubt, the burn of anger, the storm of obsession. She's been through all of it. And now, between day 16 and day 23, the mask falls away. There's no more pretending, no more half measures. She stands at a crossroads with only two choices left: Either she reaches out, swallowing the pride that's been her shield, or she lets you go. There is no middle ground anymore. Think about what that means. For weeks, she's fought herself, clinging to the belief that you'd fold, that history would repeat itself, that you'd come chasing back like before. But you didn't. And in that silence, her ego has been battered, her imagination stretched, her heart forced to face a truth she never prepared for. If she values you, she will find a way back, through a message that seems casual but is heavy with intent, through a comment on something you posted, through suddenly showing up at a place where she knows you'll be. These aren't accidents, these are signals. And every signal carries the same message. I miss you, but I don't want to admit it outright. But if she doesn't? If weeks pass and she makes no move, no effort, no attempt to break the silence, then the truth is unavoidable. She was never invested in the first place. Maybe she loved the attention more than she loved the man. Maybe she wanted validation more than connection. Either way, her inaction reveals everything you need to know. And yes, that truth may sting, but it's also the truth you've been waiting for, because a woman who can let your silence stretch on forever was only there for what you gave her, not for who you are. That's why this phase is so important. It's not just about her decision, it's about yours. This is the test of your discipline, the measure of your strength. You cannot and must not define your worth by who comes back. That's a trap, a game that keeps you chasing approval. Instead, measure yourself by what you're willing to walk away from, because walking away with your dignity intact is far more powerful than clinging to someone who never truly chose you. Silence, brother, doesn't punish, it reveals. It doesn't harm, it exposes. It strips away the illusions and shows you exactly where you stand in her life. And when you see it clearly, you hold all the power. Because you're no longer asking, no longer begging, no longer wondering where you stand. You know, and that knowledge is priceless. So when day 16 to day 23 comes, remember this. The right woman will never let your absence last too long. She won't gamble with losing a man she truly values. She won't risk letting silence grow into distance that can't be undone. She will step forward, even if it costs her pride. And if she doesn't, that silence is your answer and your freedom. Brother, stand firm. Don't flinch, don't waver, don't chase. Your silence has already done what words could never do. It has revealed the truth, and that truth will either bring her back with clarity or set you free with certainty. Either way, you win. And that's the viral lesson every man must learn. Silence isn't the end of the story. It's the point where the real story begins. Brother, never forget this. Silence is not weakness. It is the mirror that reflects truth. Words can be twisted, actions can be staged, but silence cannot be faked. When you step back and disappear, you're not playing childish games. You're stripping away the illusions. You're uncovering reality. If she reaches out, if she breaks through her pride to close the gap, you'll know she values you. If she doesn't, then you've just saved yourself years of wasted time on someone who never saw your worth. That's not a loss. That's clarity. That's freedom. The Stoics taught us a lesson most men forget. Do not chase what was never yours, and do not fear what chooses to leave, because what truly belongs in your life will never require you to beg, and what walks away was never meant to stay. Your strength isn't measured by how loudly you speak or how much you explain. It's measured by your ability to hold your ground when everything in you wants to break. So the next time you disappear, don't see it as waiting. See it as observing. Watch her reaction carefully, because it will tell you everything you need to know about your worth in her life. Her words may lie, her pride may fight, but her response to your silence will always reveal the truth. And if this truth resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video so other men can begin to reclaim their strength. Subscribe to Stoic Station for daily reminders of discipline, clarity, and power. In the comments below, anchor this truth so it becomes yours. I let silence reveal the truth. Because when you truly learn to let silence do the work, you no longer chase illusions. You let reality step forward, and reality will always set you free. I'll see you in the next video, where together we keep walking the path of becoming a stronger, more grounded man.